The calendar sits open on a desk. It's mid-month. Nothing circled. Nothing urgent. A phone vibrates, once beside it face down. When it's turned over, the screen lights up. Deposit received $11,000. It's the same notification as last month. And the month before that. He notices it, but he doesn't react. No smile, no relief. He lets the phone sit there until the screen dims and goes dark again. At the time, this was the goal, but it hadn't always been that way. 6 months earlier, the designer thought about time differently. In weeks, not months. Work arrived in short contracts, clients overlapped, an inbox that filled and emptied without much warning. On paper, the numbers looked good. Annualized, the work added up to around $180,000. Not evenly, not cleanly, but consistently enough. There was also $90,000 set aside in cash, roughly a year of personal runway. Nothing about it felt reckless, but it didn't feel finished either. Every month required renegotiation. Every project ended with the same quiet question, what's next? When people asked how work was going, the answer was always the same. Busy. What that usually meant was unstable. So when an enterprise client reached out, it didn't arrive in a vacuum. It arrived at a moment when constantly renegotiating the future had started to feel tiring. The brand was recognizable. There was a formal procurement process, a real legal department. It didn't feel like an opportunity. It felt like relief. The offer itself was simple. A 3-year exclusive retainer paying $11,000 per month, wired on the same date, every time. In exchange, the designer would step away from other clients. No side projects, no overlapping contracts. There was a non-compete clause, standard, narrow, time-bound. At least that's how it read. The math was clean. $11,000 a month was less than the best months before, but more than the worst ones. It meant no more hunting, no more sales conversations, no more quiet anxiety on Sundays. The phrase he used at the time was stability before scale. It sounded reasonable, mature, like something someone responsible would say. So in month 2, he signed. That was the moment volatility stopped being visible. Predictable income does something subtle. It doesn't just stabilize cash flow, it stabilizes expectations. By month 8, the retainer had arrived on time every time. The calendar felt different now, longer, more settled. With that sense of stability in place, the next decisions felt easier to justify. He upgraded the environment. A small studio, nothing extravagant, just enough to stop working alone. He hired a junior designer. Together, the lease and salary came to about $6,500 a month. Expenses rose, but not dangerously. $11,000 coming in, just under $9,000 going out. There was still margin, still room to breathe, and something else had changed along the way. He wasn't scrambling anymore. He was building. For a while, that sense of progress went unchallenged. Then in month 14, an email arrived late on a Thursday. It was short, polite, carefully written. The enterprise client was restructuring, nothing personal, nothing alarming, but the retainer would be adjusted, down to $6,000 per month with 60 days notice. It wasn't a cancellation, it was a recalibration. The designer opened his calendar and scrolled forward. 2 years remained on the agreement. The non-compete clause was still active. Replacing the client quickly wasn't just difficult, it wasn't allowed. At first, nothing collapsed. That was what made it confusing. The work continued. The studio stayed open. The junior kept coming in. But the numbers tightened. 6,000 coming in, nearly 9,000 going out. Every month now required subtraction. The cash buffer began doing the job it was meant for quietly, predictably. There were no dramatic moments, just fewer options. Projects he could have taken, he couldn't. Clients who reached out, he declined. The certainty that once felt calming now felt heavy. Less like a foundation, more like weight you notice only after standing too long, and even then, it took time to recognize it. The clarity didn't arrive during a crisis. It arrived during a normal morning, coffee cooling on the desk, inbox half-read. Another deposit notification, smaller this time. The problem hadn't been the contract, it hadn't been the studio or the hire. It was when certainty arrived, before demand had revealed its range, before flexibility had done its work. What disappeared wasn't danger, it was room. It wasn't the decision that mattered most, it was when it was made. By month 17, the business closed. No debt, no drama, $14,000 left in cash. The designer returned to salaried work at a lower compensation than before. The calendar filled up again. Meetings, deadlines, predictability of a different kind. But sometimes still, when the phone lights up mid-month, he lets it sit there for a moment before turning it over. Because for a while, that number on the screen meant the future had been handled. And it took longer than he expected to notice. When that stopped being true,